Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this show goes out to all of you who have been divorced, getting divorced, or separated and are talking about that divorce. And the first question that always comes up is, because this is that person, one half is, I was going to be with this person for the rest of my life. That was my lifelong partner. Sex was great, but they didn't see it that way. Or you just grew apart, but sexually you're still quite active with each other. I mean, there are always look at sex during and after. So that's what our topic is about today. Sex after divorce. And then we will end out the show with some, the best sex after divorce tips. And believe it or not, it only seems to be 6. But we'll see what we come up with. So let's get this party started to all my honey little devils out there. And start going in about that sex after divorce. First of all, divorce is not an easy thing. Obviously, somebody in that little mess there is getting hurt, if not both. But then there are those who, could just separate, and it's a mutual separation. But that question always comes up, or that thought process of who are they sleeping with? Or not being able to imagine yourself to have sex with somebody else. And even dipping back in to the ex for sex. It does happen. It is there. And there are those people out there that actually live with their girlfriend while their ex lives downstairs, or ex-boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, while they have the other living downstairs and going to bed with both of them. Yeah, not a very good situation, but hey, if it works for them, let it work. Who are we to judge? Who am I to judge? But I do know that sex is one big giant factor in there. Is she gonna ride him as she rode me? Can he get her off like I got her off? Will she hit that orgasm? I remember this when she orgasmed like that. Or him for the most part, if the shoes are on the other foot. You're going to find somebody that has the same size penis or bigger, depending on your preference. But then again, you have to kind of you're thinking, I got to break this person in. My heart, where is it going to be with that? Is it just going to be sex? Nowadays, unfortunately, sex kind of comes first. Well before the courtship sometimes. we do things a little backwards now. When back in the day, if you were with your husband or you did get a divorce, which was taboo, by the way, you did not go right out there and do that. There was always do all this other stuff, or that was never even thought of, especially depending on a religion that you practice. Things are a lot different. You wait till you're married to, go to bed with each other, because the reason why you go in the bedroom is to consummate the marriage and to, conceive little juniors. Nowadays, not so much that. It's more of, what can you offer me in the bedroom? So there are some smart ways to make dating after divorce easier. And these tips do come from therapists. So let's talk about them. There is, when you're coming out of a divorce, there is a lot of stress. And even to think about this, sometimes you're like, what? Do I want to think about this right now? And do I even want to stop dating again? Most people will tell you, no, I'm never dating again. I'm never getting married. And that is all well and good. But after a certain length of time and you're getting extremely horny and no one's pleasing you, that tune might change. Or, for the most part, always changes. Or you may be out and you meet somebody not realizing that that person is going to be the person that you will marry and be with again, and probably get remarried. It is not unheard of. But nowadays, with the age of computers and dating, although dating sites are racking it in now because of COVID, it is still, the times have changed considerably. You're not so looked down upon on divorce. I think because, women are able to say more now and they stand up. And they are almost on the same level with regards to sex and what they want in a penis and how they want to be touched. How do you stimulate me? I know how to stimulate me. Are you going to do it right? So it gets entangled there because we're calling it dating after divorce, but nowadays it's generally, okay, let's get the sex out of the way, find out how it is. We like it, you stay. You don't like it, oh, it was a wham bam, thank you, man, I got my rocks off. We don't want that. At least a lot of people out there do not want that. They're still open to that relationship, and you should never ever put yourself on a back burner because you have feelings just as that ex did when they decided to divorce you. So don't ever remember that. But first tip out there is wait until, very important tip by the way, this one, wait until you divorce or your separation is final before you start dating. There are a lot of people out there that will tell you, oh, I'm separated. But I know for a fact the divorce is going to go through while they're picking up some other girl or the woman or the man, whatever their preference is. And, they are just out there having the time of their life. And when it gets a little closer and everything like that, all of a sudden that divorce is not going through. That separation was only, I only moved out because we had a fight. And look who's on the back end of that now. You've probably vested a little bit of emotion into that relationship. And that made you, after that, even dislike or hate dating even more. So, please, make sure that before you go dating after divorce, because there's going to be emotions involved, wait a length of time. Wait till you are actually divorced. And if you're separated, at least get it finalized, knowing that it's going through the process. I still am a little iffy on the part with the dating while you're separated, because you're not exactly divorced and the both of you can change your mind. That's not something I, venture to wage down the long run. But there are individuals out there that do not care and just they'll tell you, even on these dating sites, you go up on there and they'll tell you, look, I'm separated and I just really want to have fun. And they're picking up women or men to have sex, to have sexual relationships with. They're not even thinking about it. And the bad part about that is the fact that, one person you do that to is probably the nicest person, or that person who shouldn't have had it done. It is not fair to the person that you're picking up and asking on a date, unless, of course, you put that out there first. Granted, nowadays they do get up and tell you and put it out there, but then there are those who still do not say anything. Pick these people, pick up that person and stop playing the game of the dating game. Not even divorced, just separated from their partner. And then who's going to get hurt in the end with that one? And I know some people who have, so do wait till you're divorced, or if you are going through a legal, big word there, big word there, legal separation, make sure it is finalized, because that is showing that probably, more than likely, a divorce is to follow. Now, tip number 2. Ask yourself this question. Are you dating again for the right reasons? There are reasons. If you just are dating because you are lonely and you want to get laid, there are a lot of people out there nowadays, FWBs, friends with benefits. There are also a lot of booty calls out there who don't mind that at all, because they don't want it either. But if you're going into it just because, that is not the right reason, because for the most part, someone's getting hurt in that. I mean, if you're just going into it to avoid your feelings of being hurt, the fact that you're angry, or like I said, just in the fact of being lonely, those are not good reasons to go into that, because you still need healing time, and you should not be in the dating game. You need time. You may not think you do, but you do. You need time to let those wounds heal. That person hurt you. I mean, there are those couples who did get divorced because they grew apart from each other and they were basically living like brother and sister. But they also may have a underlying fact with that, whereas the communication was not there, and had they just communicated, that might have just changed. Instead, they decided to do this. Dating is not easy, even if you haven't been married. Dating is tough, especially in this time and age, because of how sex has become so prominent and such a deciding factor with it. If you go in there with feelings of being hurt, you're angry, or loneliness, you are going to continue to get hurt. You're going to get even more angry, and your loneliness is going to go, you're bordering mental health issues. Let's put it this way, if you don't have them already. That is not good at all. Give yourself the time to heal those emotions, and to get, once you start doing that, positive relations will be open to you. And then going back out there and just, dating. At that point, you could say to yourself, well, I just want to get laid. Or, I want somebody in my life. You are able to decide a lot better where you want to be in a relationship and where sex is going to be in this relationship. You, believe it or not, you just start to look at different things here and there, comparing penis sizes, men for women, vaginas, how that one felt to compare to that one. You know something? A vagina is a vagina for the most part, or a penis is a penis for the most part. It's how you enjoy it, how you are with that person who owns that body part, that genitalia. So don't add things that are even harder to be in there when you are trying to actually, get over all these other emotions you have. Next, a good tip would be set reasonable expectations. There it is. What did I say? You go in and now you can pick. You have your pick of the litter on the dating. The same sex or the opposite sex. You can make. Why don't you just make a penis dating game or a vagina dating game? You pick a vagina you like, because that's where sex has come. But don't ever feel that you do not deserve it, because you do deserve it. You deserve to be pleasured and you deserve to have fun. Yes, you were divorced. Well, actually, yes, you were married. Now you're divorced. You did nothing wrong. You just need time to get through that emotion. We are going to take a break here. And when we come back, we will continue on tips for sex, dating, whatever, after divorce. So go get that snack, get that drink, come get relaxed. And I will meet you back here for more Sex Talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning back into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we are on the topic today of sex/dating after divorce and some tips to make it successful. Because, hey, we all know you want to get laid. You want someone who's going to be good. Now, we left off on the last segment on setting reasonable expectations when going forward with dating and sex after divorce. Remember, don't ever think that your new dating situation, friends with benefits or fun buddies or a new relationship altogether, is not going to be or have any issues. It is healthy for a relationship to have issues. That's how you grow within that relationship. Just like with educating yourself, communication with your partner, and consenting to all sexual acts. You know, everybody's a little kinky in the bed. They don't want to admit to it, but they are. That level of kinkiness comes with some rules and some regulations. Then again, for those of you who do not have those and don't mind it at all, hey, there you go. Give them the old blanket consent. But if you are going to try something new, do the educate yourself, the communication with the partner that it's being done with, and do get consent. But there are always ifs in every relationship. There are never any ifs, because you are constantly learning about your partner's wants, needs, desires, and pleasuring them. There are always. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people do after divorce. They think they know everything, or they just feel, okay, I'm not going to do this again in my next relationship. It's not that the next relationship is going to end in divorce. It's just the mere fact of the matter that you know yourself better now, and that having those little bit of disagreements is how it grows. You got to put the time in. Maintain your individuality. Because as long as you maintain that and you both know who you are as people and what you want and will do and won't do, you shouldn't have that much of a problem. But when you go into it, be you. Which brings us to our next tip. Be honest about your past. Haha, like the way I just slid into that one. Do be honest about your past. Don't lie to this person, because it's not fair to them. And it's definitely not fair to you and the people around you. If you have kids, tell them. Don't all of a sudden, you're dating somebody and then boing, you pop up. There is a child. You have kids. You're all getting all hot and bothered and, going to town and foreplaying and, in the heat of the moment, you're making out and all this stuff like that. And your kids get dropped off to you. Not a good way to start a relationship. Be honest with what things are going on, especially in your online profile. I know that they are not a place to put your whole entire life, but do put in some things that are real. If this is what you're going after. If you are just on there for sexual purposes only, say it. If you want to have a relationship, say it. Sex is in there. It's kind of sort of a gimme. Like I said in the first segment, nowadays you put the carriage before the horse. The sex becomes before the relationship for the most part. And you deserve it. Just because you were divorced all that length of time and you're raising your children, don't ever think that you are not entitled to having yourself pleasured. So remember, you can date. It is okay, but do give yourself some time. Which is our next tip, is go slow at first. Because don't dive into that relationship or that dating head first. You don't want to get too involved in the intensity right off the bat. You want it to grow, and flourish. I mean, if you want to talk to each other every day and you are with each other and, you're displaying PDA, personal display of affection, who cares? Do it. But do go slow and at a pace that works for both of you. Nowadays it's actually texting, and that becomes the big thing. And sometimes that actually talking on the phone seems to get lost in there. But do ask, can we talk? Hearing someone's voice actually puts kind of sort of, not the face with the words, but the voice with the words, and then you meet and comes the face, the voice, and the words will all come together. Do go on a lot of dates. Go and spend the time that you want with that person. That is what it's there for. But remember, don't jump all the way into it, because dating after divorce and sex after divorce, remember, sex kind of sort of cements, is the best way I can put that, cements that relationship. So you don't want to put too many things in. Then all of a sudden, by the first or second month, you're like, well, what do we do now? Don't want that. Just be you. Because that dating, if that person, you really like them, you're glad you met each other, they will continue to be that person for you. If you throw yourself at them, if you are seeming too eager or anything like that, it might be, a little bit of turn off. Hey, that other person may also have come out of a divorce. And they may not have been with somebody for a long time. But you are both at different levels after the divorce. And when you're going to go into dating and sexual relations again, you both deserve it. So don't think that you don't. Work it. It is there. The world's not ending, although we are inside behind closed doors. We're starting to peek our heads out a bit there. Remember, it's there to enjoy. Enjoy them over long lengths of time. Every time you get together, when you have sex, it's going to be different. And that's what seals that deal every time. You're getting more intimacy out of it. You're bonding a lot more. But this is what you deserve. You deserve it. I know there's a lot of people out there probably say, yeah, there are people, my ex doesn't deserve it. And that may be all well and good in your mind. But in your ex's mind, that doesn't mean the same. You worry about you. They called an ex for a reason. You want to date, you deserve it. Go out and do it, because it is there for you. Make space for your feelings to bubble up. So, believe it or not, if you're even holding back, your feelings are growing with that person that you met and you're dating now. And you're going to get that little feeling of feeling guilty, nervous, excited. And you're not even sure, of some other emotions that you may have that dating just brings to the surface. Believe it or not, those are okay. Those are okay. They're supposed to happen. Allow yourself to experience all of these emotions. You're dating again. You're like a school kid all over again with a new toy. Sex is new for you. Oh my goodness. Are they on the same level as me? Oh my God, they are. I didn't think they were. All these questions are going through your head. It's okay. Let those emotions come in. Let them come up on their own terms. Don't rush them. Because if that person really likes you, they will be there. And they're not going to stop talking to you. They're going to continue to talk to you. Remember, every person that you're going to date after your divorce is a different relationship, is a different person, comes with different levels and different personalities. Remember, the bottom line is here, maintain your individuality and who you are as a person, as well as allowing those emotions and everything to bubble up. You deserve it. But do know your priorities, which is our next tip on the list. And it is exactly that. Please know what you want in a partner. Know what you don't want in a partner. Like, this new partner is going to come with some standards. Let me tell you. You know what you want. You know what you're looking for at this point. Especially if you've given yourself enough time before you go back into dating. You've probably experimented. Either by yourself or with other people. And you know what you're looking for. You're tired of all of that. You know what are going to be the deal breakers in that next partner that you have. That is absolutely perfect because that's how you should be. Know what they are. And you're going to, in this way you'll really know if you're going to be that good match in the long run. Be informed about online dating. A lot of people are not a huge fan of online dating, but unfortunately, it happens to be one of the things that is the biggest thing out there now with regard, with the flow of technology, with the flow of everything that's going on, and people having to work for a living to maintain the cost of living. So some people just don't have the time to go out. Easiest way is online dating. It is a crap shot when you're on there. You don't know what you're going to get because people can spruce up their profiles. And when you actually meet that person, they are not who they say they were. And that's going to put you down even further in the dating game and how you want to go about it. There are a lot of scams out there. And yes, we have heard about date rapes, which is not an old term, but a lot of date killings and things like that. So do be very careful. There are a lot of scammers out there, and just be aware that you know what you're looking for, what you want, and you know how to disseminate between it and basically break it down and figure out and look through the lines, in between the lines of what are being said for sometimes. Don't rush to introduce a new partner to your family. Yeah, they're going to earn that one. You have to be comfortable with that new partner, dating-wise, being around them, sexually, everything. You've got to be comfortable with that new person you're dating. Don't bring them home and say, oh, look, this is the person mommy and daddy's dating to your children. Not going to go over very big. If you maintain an open relationship with your children, doesn't matter how old they are, although the little ones are probably not going to remember much. They just see a male or a female figure in the home. But for the older kids, because they are confused and really don't know what the heck is going on, sit down and talk with them. Don't hide it from them. Talk to them about it. Because if you do get to that point and you say, I want you to meet them, and it will get to that point if the two of you do hit it off, talk with them. Obviously, you have pictures of each other. Show them pictures. Explain to them, this, that. I've decided to go dating again. Nowadays, actually, believe it or not, the kids are the ones that will put you out there. which is the funniest thing in the whole entire world. But they will put you out there because they want you to get out there and be somebody because you've been taking care of them, and they want you to be happy in return. So you got to look at it that way. We are going to take another break here. And when we come back, we will continue with dating after divorce. And we'll finish up with sex after divorce tips. Because sex is in there. And knowing what we want and how we're going to go about this that second time around when we're in that dating game again. We'll put a lot into the sex. So, replenish that drink, replenish that snack, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we are on that topic, kind of touchy subject, of dating after divorce, sex after divorce. Never thinking that you are ever going to be in that particular predicament again, and you are. It is okay. You deserve it. You are human. So do it. But we ended off with talking about the kiddos and not, keeping them in the dark about it. Please sit down if this is something that has been going on and you're dating this person for a considerable amount of time. Like 6 months, going on a year, even after 3 months is good to start working that in. Sit down with your kids, talk with them. You raise them, you know how they are. Talk with them, let them express their feelings about the new person and this relationship and how they feel about it. However, in today's society, I must say, most kids will generally mock at their own parents. So, in the dating world, they're all into it. You've raised them. They're independent and they want you to be happy. So, for the most part, they will mock at you. And it does happen. Keep it growing. So, keep growing in this relationship. There is a lot of effort on both parties in this new relationship. But keep letting it grow. A relationship's not easy. It doesn't matter if you're married, unmarried, separated. It doesn't matter where you are experimenting, friends with benefits, booty calls. There is something there. And it takes work. It takes work. If you go in there, to you it is perfect. Others may see something different. It's not up to them. It's how you're doing it. You got to go according to you, your individuality, your wants, your needs, your desires, what you want in a person. You know, remember, this is the penis and vagina dating game. Even though there's more things that are involved, like feelings and emotions, but things have switched throughout the years. Now, the final tip in this subject, well, at least for here, I do have more enjoyable tips on this subject matter, which we will get into, and then end out with, sex after dating tips. Remember, above all else, trust you. Trust your decision. This is about you. If you do not feel comfortable with that person that you took out on a date, trust your gut. If you are comfortable with that person, trust your gut. Remember, dating, unfortunately, is going to an interview, like going to an interview for a job. You're interviewing people. You did it with the person that you actually married. You interviewed each other. You're going to interview this next person, and you're going to interview a lot of them, because now you've been divorced and you know what you want. You deserve it. You go out and do it. So do remember that. If there's a red flag up there, throw up the white flag and get the hell out of there. You'll know. You will know very quickly. You'll know what turns you on. Talking to this individual on the phone, texting with them. You'll know by how they talk to you or how they text you, how they respond to your interaction. Especially when you're on the phone and you're talking to them. That first phone call is always a nervous phone call. It's almost like, it's weird. It's almost like that first date. That first impression you really want to impress. Impression, impress. And you're nervous. And don't say you're not. Because everybody gets nervous, especially, having been divorced for whatever length of time. And then getting back into that scary world of dating. But it is a challenge. And if you can get through other challenges in life, you can get through this challenge. It's just how you go and approach that challenge and get over those obstacles, shall we say. So it's really how you're viewing it. Obviously, when you was divorced, there were things that you had to take care of. So you took care of those before you went out on that dating scene. There are so many different ways of dating these days. Oh my God, it's so scary. But I think that's a lot where thinking about, like I said, what you want, that you deserve it, maintaining your individuality, and hitting it head on. You will know what you like and don't like. So remember that. It's like a fashion show. You're out checking out what the product is. And if you like it. Hey, everybody has different tastes, especially when it comes to a body type, especially when it comes to what you are attracted to on that sex, that partner. You like a big booty? You'll look for a big booty. You like someone with big breasts? You would look for that. These are the little things that we seem to forget when we get married. And then now we're divorced and the sex world is at your fingertips. But if you want to get back into that dating game after divorce, it's work. Everything is work. The marriage was work. So you realize that. Now, what comes with all of this dating is that first time having sex after marriage, after they're divorced, whatever the reason is why you got a divorce. I don't know. That is you. But we all have it. You're going on that first date, nerves are high. Then you're like wondering, oh, Jesus, is this person going to like me in the bed? Am I going to like them in the bed? Are they, and that's going on in the other person's head as well. So don't ever think that they're not thinking about it at the same time you are. But then again, you need to remember that they may have already been in the dating game for some time before you got there. So they've gotten an impression of the dating game after divorce and how easy or how hard it is, and probably have gone through what you already feel like not, that you don't deserve it when you do, but also realizing that things are different now in the dating game. Kind of set out of practice because you've been with that person for some length of time and now they're not there. And you're getting somebody new and you're getting used to each other. Some people go out and just have emotional affairs because they want to dip the wick in everything. That goes for the females too, so don't ever think that does not. It goes the opposite end. The question when it comes to sex is this person on the same level as me? Do I have to train them? Do I have to teach them? Yes, you do. It doesn't matter how experienced it is that each other are. You don't know each other in this new relationship. So yes, you're learning about what makes them tick, what just makes them scream in the bed, what gets them to orgasm, and where their G spot is or their O spot, the C spot. Remember all those spots? They're there. No, you're learning. They're teaching you, you're teaching them about you when it comes to the bed and what to do in the bed. You don't want to settle into that routine quickly, but hey, if that's what you want, go for it. Most people nowadays say, when they go on that first date, I'm not going to go to bed with this person. We're going to go on a date. And you end up in the sack with them. It happens. It happens. It's what happens after the fact. I mean, you can say it all you want, but sex kind of rules the dating game these days. Do know it, play it safe. It doesn't have to be done. And if you're strong and if you've been, divorced for some time, then you know that you can hold off. But if you are going into it just for the sex, say it. Sex is okay. Do it. I mean, I'm assured that when you divorced from your ex, that you were still sleeping with them, or at least a good amount of people will still sleep with their ex until they find someone. Because, the sex is there, you're used to it. You don't have to worry about condoms or protection or whatever it is they're using. You don't even have to discuss what toys you're going to use. Because you can just get in the bed, what each other likes, and have a rumble and a tumble. So, it doesn't matter. You don't got to ask those questions. But if you're really looking into dating, again, these are the things that you're going to have to know. because it is there. You can go about it your way by picking people up and just continually just having sexual relations with them. That is perfectly fine, because you're going to get to a point where you say, you know something? I want something more than this. And that's when you have to decide on the dating. How long should you wait? Again, at least wait until you have some control on your emotions, your feelings, your anger. It is very, very, very important, no matter what the situation is or the circumstances, you are going to get to the point where you are back enjoying sex with someone else. Just takes a little longer the second time around, but hey, it is sex. What is it that you want out of it? How do you want out of it? If you put those things out there in the beginning when you're dating, there shouldn't be any questions. The only questions that are going to come is when you're in the bedroom. And now you're exploring each other's body. Now remember, there's all kinds of ways to explore each other's body, and seeing as it's a new thing, you might want to take it slow and see how it goes. If this person is scared, if this person is not scared, how is intimacy going to be? Where do you have that first sexual encounter? Again, it is a scary topic, getting back into the dating world, because you want that next person to accept you and how you like to be sexed. Remember, it isn't only about you. It is also about that other person. They are feeling the same thing. Again, unless the two of you go into it knowingly in that framework, for the most part, if you are legitimately wanting to date this person, you will take that time to learn and explore their body, which is what you're doing. What kind of relationship do you want? You say you want a date. If you ask anybody out there, and it's funny, I think I read it once somewhere, someone wrote that this was a few years ago, they took someone's dating online profile, as a friend of mine, and they compared it and put a list of things of translations. So, obviously, talking woman to man, men to women is different. You have your different things with us. But the way they did it, it was comical. In how, like, if they say they're dating, it really means they want to romp in the sack. If they want a long-term relationship, they want dating. That is not so nowadays. But it is so that sex is looked at first. A lot of these things we've gone through an era where it was like that, and now it's kind of flip-flopping back over to where some people want someone in their lives. And with the situation that's going on now with COVID, it has become more and more of a thing to look at, having that person in your life and working in that relationship. It is a good thing. So do it. You, again, and I don't know how many times I can say this, but I will. You deserve the relationship. If your ex deserves it, why don't you? You deserve the sex after divorce. Hey, you have feelings too. You have needs in your pants too. It might just be something slow, and that is what the first encounter should be. Just remember, to know what you're looking for in a relationship. If you're not looking for that long-term relationship, please do say so. If you are looking for a long-term relationship, just be ready to know that you want to become intimate with someone new. And knowing that you're ready with that. And being comfortable in your own skin when it comes to new sex with a new partner. Also, do you feel safe during sex with this new person? Another positive. There are so many things to think about, like how does the new sex make you feel? And just ask yourself these questions. You can really, find out what you want and that person that you want in your life again. You are swimming in uncharted waters, but you are still who you are and you know what you want. We are going to take our final break in the show. So you can stay right where you're at and not get any more to drink or eat. Just sit there and relax. Like melt right into that cozy little chair. And I will be back with more sex talk with Andra, where we end the show about some sex dating tips for after divorce. So don't go anywhere.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, this is the final portion of the show. And as promised, we are continually to talk about sex after dating. And in the last segment, we had, we were going over some questions you ask yourself when you're with this new person. And one of those is, how often do new couples have sex? I think everybody wants to know that. Obviously, new sex with a new partner is exciting and liberating. But you don't always have to have sex all the time. Although in the beginning, most of us believe that sex, because it does consummate the relationship, seals the deal. How many times you want to do it is completely up to you. But if this person is someone you really like and you want to be with, take it slow. Don't rush all of the sex positions out in the first night. Because there are a lot of sexual positions out there. You have a lot of questions to ask yourself when you are going to do that, which actually really should not be questions when it's something new. So, but they are those. The ones that should not even have a second thought, should you use protection? Hello, new person, and to get used to them. Yes. But there are other questions. Will you be good? would you feel your book? Am I good? How good, will they want something that you don't know how to do? I don't think that is a question nowadays. Trust me. Way too weird. However, there are some things that do occur because you have been with someone for a very long length of time. Some individuals, male, have actually get a short bout of erectile dysfunctioning. They can't get it up because they're so used to their ex. Got to find new ways in there if you want it to work. Others, and this goes for women as well, women do not get wet enough for their new partner. That's kind of, they get hurt there, and it goes both ways. So, you're not disappointing. It's just something new. It's a new person. You need to just only focus on that new person because that new person is who you want to be with. Your ex is gone. Remember, you signed those divorce papers. There it goes. There are those individuals, for those who are questioning, because I can hear it, that, do get back with their ex. And that is totally amazing. Do it. What do you want me to tell you? Do it. That what you want to do? Is that what you want? Do it. It's most of the time when that happens, it could go either way again. But it is something that you need to get out of your system. It is a form of an emotion or a feeling that you need to address. So that does come into play. And remember that. But stop questioning yourself. You were good enough for one person all those years. You are good enough for someone else. If not, even better. Because now you know what you want sexually. You know how to express yourself in more ways. So there is that you need to think about. Don't ever think that you don't have a say in how you want it. Now, there are some tips about dating and sex after divorce. Because what's the biggest feeling that we have? Is nervousness. But that, everybody gets anxiety around going back out in that dating game. You gotta get over that anxiety. That is like the first step. You finally have to say, hey, I do want to date. It's going to be nerve-wracking. It is going to be, you're going to be a picky nanny. Because that's what it is. But you got to get over that anxiety. You got to take that step because no one's going to do it for you. It is there. It is difficult these days with online dating and everything that's going on in the dating world. But don't forget, it is still there. And it is what you make it and how you do it. Because remember, if the online dating wasn't there or that word dating, how else? Your friends will either introduce you to somebody or you'll meet somebody. You can be passing them on the street. You still got to get over that little bit of anxiety there and the nerves and getting past that first obstacle is getting out there. Once you're out there, you're pretty, okay, well, let me get my sea legs. Cool. Now you're getting your sea legs and now it's like, ooh, what do I want sexually? Are you considering going on a dating app to help you meet people? If you are, please research each of the dating sites. It's good to know what you're doing. Dating gracefully at any age can be difficult and is difficult. But it is something in which if you want to do it, you got to get out there and do it. It eats at your confidence and your communication, but it's also a way of once you're out there, you get past that anxiety, you've researched where you want to go or whatever it is, or you meet this new person and getting out there and doing it. Communication and confidence will start rolling back into your life. Because when you're in the bed, for the first time, come on. Either the two of you are very comfortable with yourselves and you can do this with the lights on, or you're going to turn the lights off. It is, when you are working with online dating or dating in general, mainly online dating, limit where and how your online dating is going, because you don't want to have that come to a point where it's like stalking. You are a sexually active individual, show it. There are, when it comes to online dating, please, Facebook now has an online dating scene. LinkedIn, I believe, has one as well. A lot of these social media things are instilling their own or putting up their own dating sites. So remember that. Now, if you really want to get the sex and you're going to be with this person, you might not want to disclose your baggage, because that's a way to get a lip winky. That penis won't go, you're going to turn your partner right off. It'll just go bloop, bloop. Female, you won't even be bothered or want to be bothered by that prospective partner, new partner. Just decide how and when you're going to disclose this. For the most part, if you are actively in the dating game and you are looking for a person that you want to be with, ask questions. Ask questions. But when you ask questions, do know that if your new partner, your new dating buddy there, or somebody that you're interested in and you're building on that relationship, you got to be ready to hear it, to know what that person, what they've been through, and the like. And that goes for you, the partner as well. If you are really interested, you're not going to give all that baggage and throw it out there right in the beginning. If somebody asks, oh, what happened? You're sitting there, you're having conversations. Most couples want to know, how they were with their other partners, or what happened, or how many people, or something along that line. So the odds of that question coming up are pretty high. And it's going to go both one way or the other. One person's going to ask over the other. But be ready for that first person who actually asks in this new relationship. Remember that person's going to ask you probably after. So be ready to answer, and make sure that you know how far you want to go with that. And just, you don't got to sit up there and throw out your whole entire luggage supply out there. Just know how much is going to happen or what you say. I mean, if they want to know more, they'll ask. They'll ask for more, because if they're really interested, they want to know. Rediscover, remember, when it comes to sex after divorce, and we're back in that dating game, and sex is the number one thing on the mind nowadays. Rediscover what feels good in bed. Just, coming out although it's funny because I'm assured a lot of people nowadays with sex being as so open as it is are not as afraid to just whip out the genitals to one another. But if it is something that you really like, you're going to be like a school kid, and revealing your genitals is a big step. Very, very, very big step in that new relationship. Understanding your body, what makes you feel good, what feels great, what feels, oh my God, OMG, I'm gonna blow. Know that. You're gonna be ready for it. You have to rediscover these things. And with this new person. Communication, big, big, big. Always big. Without communication in any relationship. Generally, you're going on a downward scope. So, always protect yourself and your partner, because it is a new relationship, and until you have grown in it and it has gone farther and you've gotten to know one another, that possibility of sexually transmitted diseases is out there. So nowadays, I think, especially with COVID, everybody's asking, do you got an STD? Do you got COVID? They'll ask you right out. Sex has become so open and knowing this, but in a way it is actually damn good, because you're being more boisterous. You're not being surprised by it with your partner. If you are surprised by it, this new person didn't know that they had it either. So give them a break. Give them the opportunity to sit down and talk with them, communicate with them. Don't be a just this once person. Always insist on the condom or protection in general, so you have nothing to worry about. Like I said, until you get past that point, it is there, and the fear is there. But like I said, people are a lot more open and a lot more at ease to ask about these things, especially when you're becoming over 40 and you're going back in the dating game. A lot of older people out there now, and getting back in there. You know, you've been with a partner for so many damn years. You never had to ask these questions. You never had to do that for that length of time, because you conceived children. You were comfortable having sex with that new person. You got to kind of build back up to that. You got to, know what you want to feel there and everything like that. Don't get them drunk, please. That is like really, really freaking on the totem pole low. But when you do get comfortable again, it'll be a time when you feel comfortable enough to have sex without a condom again. But in the beginning, there it is. But do know, when you are going to have sex, that first encounter after divorce, going to be a lot of nerves going in, a lot of anxiety, a lot of, will they like what they see? Am I big enough for them? How big was their partner? A lot of people aren't like that, and they're probably sitting out there saying, what is she talking about? But these are the things, believe it or not, that no one asks. And, they go into it with this expectation, this new sexual relationship. You've, had a long session of foreplay and out of play. And then now comes down to that sexual act. And you're like, lights on or off? There is going to be a confidence building session. But this is where you get in there and you start working it slow. Sex is a good after divorce. here I am after marriage, because a lot of people will say, geez, I didn't even have that much when I was married. It is good after divorce. Don't sell yourself short. You've got skills in the bedroom. Use them. But remember, it is new. It is with a new partner. And those emotions are running high. All those feelings, a little confidence going on there and everything. So remember to educate, communicate, and ask for consent. This is the end of my show. So, as always, remember to practice safe sex. If not for your partner, for yourself. Because you are number one in the book, in your book. And thank you again for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I do ask that you subscribe to the show and leave a good, feedback, because it helps me and it helps us here at GSMC Network. And it lets us know that you are out there, you're listening, and you like what you hear. So, do reach out to us and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because we are there. And, as always, have a good night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.